Welcome to the Digital Dreaming Out the Ground podcast. It is now a beautiful evening here in Northern California. I'm joined with my co-host, Mos Cortez Brandt Jr., and our special guest host of today, Marcus Montalvo. Let's talk about wrestling. Well, first of all, let's also kind of do a really quick preview of the Bears-Niners matchup. Obviously, the Niners are coming off a three-game loss, an embarrassing 35-10 loss on Sunday night. The Bears are coming off a very close, hard-fought loss against the Lions. I got two Bears fans here in the Chicagoland area. What are y'all's kind of thoughts on Matt Eberflus' firing, and what are your predictions heading into this week of 12 matchup against the Niners here in San Francisco?
Well, I'll start here, and I'm going to be honest. Matt Eberflus should have been fired 2 years ago, not just this past week, but the fact that the man was the most delusional character that has come out of football in the last couple of years leads me to believe that he maybe should have never had the job in the first place. Let's go through this really quick. We had Eberflus, we had Nagy, we had who's before Nagy? Tressman?
Yep, Tressman.
Yeah.
And before that, Lovey. So you went from a guy with winning seasons, a guy who went to a Super Bowl, a guy who got fired after a winning season, to garbage, and duck vomit. Okay, because that's pretty much where we're at. So how do you not win a road game in almost your entire career as a head coach? We're talking about a guy who was 5-19 in one-score games. We're talking about a guy that hadn't run a road game in 2 years. The Bears have not won a road game in 2 years. And the thing about it is we are so enamored by the fact that we are the GSH Chicago Bears that we have forgotten that we hadn't won a road game in 2 years.
And hold on a second. I gotta jump in real quick. Now, when you say we, let's be real here. There's no we in this because it's definitely the bandwagon fans that you're seeing that. Because as soon as Chicago does anything in the slightest where there's promise, not even the actual action and actual effort and actual substance, you get these fans that get the news talking about it. Everybody's, oh man, we're going to go to the Super Bowl. That was what they were talking about this year just because we've got Caleb. He's a rookie. He hasn't done anything, and we clearly see that. And you can't do anything as a quarterback, which you can see quarterbacks for years on years on years in Chicago. This is where quarterbacks come to die. I mean, look, after quarterbacks come here, they go to another team, fairly successful, I would say. But you come here, how do you get into a shootout with no protection? You don't have an offensive line, or your offensive line is practically dead because they're getting injured. And I don't know if it's the water in Chicago right now or what's going on, but people are falling apart and dying out there. And your quarterback is just running and gunning, hoping to stand behind anybody. Getting sacked 9 times by the Patriots. Bro, what are we doing? And then you say that we don't have talent.
It's the grass. That's why they're falling apart.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know who thought that putting Kentucky bluegrass next to a lake was a great idea. I don't know. They've been doing that for so long.
Well, that's beyond my knowledge of grass. I'm not a landscaper by any means.
you didn't almost twist your ankle on it. You know, some of us had to tape our ankles for the next year after that, after playing on Soldier Field. You know. Yeah. But that's all I gotta say about that. As you can see, it does not make me happy to this day.
Dude, I'm just telling you now, like it's weird to see that we can be so close to 3 of our division rivals literally within scoring distance. And 2 of the games, Eberflus just, I don't know, hit a stroke or something in the middle of it. 30 seconds left in the game, and you fall twice. I don't know what happened there. And
5-19 in the last 24 one-score games. 5-19.
Yeah. It's
I know
upsetting.
I know 3A high school teams that are better than that. They don't even have 800 students. They got like 22-man football teams. That's just enough for both sides.
Well, yeah.
That's it. They have like 22-guy football teams. You go out there and you watch one of those small high schools, and they're like, oh, you got guys that would never play football anywhere, and they don't have records like that. They at least went on the road sometimes. The Bears haven't won a road game in almost 3 years.
It's frustrating beyond belief. And this is funny that, I'm happy to be on. This is my first time on here hanging out with you guys. And, I'm doing a short stint, if you will. But there's a lot going on that I'd love to talk about because of the simple fact that it's watching the games is one of the most frustrating. I mean, just being a Bears fan in general. I mean, let's just be real. It isn't easy. I mean, and then to get constantly stomped on by our rivals, the Packers,
Is
and
it the
then
players? Is it the
oh,
players, or is it? Or I'm going to say this: the Bears have had offensive line problems since Rashawn Salam was the running back. If you guys don't know who Rashawn Salam is, go look him up.
I mean,
May he rest in peace. Okay,
man, right?
now
Allahu
we're
Akbar.
gonna talk about. See, the thing about Cutler was a baller. Jay Cutler was a baller, and if you would have gave him an offensive line, we might have had a dynasty. And if people don't believe me, go watch Off the Cusp Jay Cutler highlights, because you will see that this dude could play football. The problem was the Chicago Bears ownership and the Chicago Bears front office and the Chicago Bears coaching staff outside of Lovie Smith was not, and Ron Rivera, I'm gonna give him his credit, that's the only staffs that we had that were decent. The rest of those staffs were like, you went and got Trestman from the Montreal Alouettes. When's the last time anything good happened in Montreal?
What was the best thing that came out of Canadian football in general? Like, I mean, come on, when you play Madden, are there any teams in Canada over 50%? So let's just be real. That's the minor league. That there's nothing that you're gonna get.
There's no
You don't
teams
get
in
the
Canada.
pressure as a coach in the Canadian Football League. It just
There's
doesn't
no NFL
exist.
team in Canada, and there's not gonna be.
No. I think
No,
there'll be a
there's not
Mexican
gonna
football
be.
team before there's a Canadian football team. I'll tell you that.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Go watch Liga MX. The LFA down in Mexico is a
Yeah.
fantastic amateur football. Well, it's minor league football. It's a minor league football organization. But it's professional. Minor leagues are still professional, guys. I think you need to understand that. Not you, but people that watch. Minor league football is still professional football. But
Trying to boast,
there.
you're trying to boast your stats there a little bit, bud.
Yeah, there's levels to this. If you make any money out of it at all, you're a professional. It just
That's
might be a
true.
minor professional. You know what I'm saying? If you're a B-list actor, you're still a B-list actor. If you're Krishan Rock, you're still kind of famous. But my thing that I have the problem with this organization is that they think that they're being edgy and they think that they're being cool by doing things like this. Did anyone really think that this guy growing a beard was going to change the fact that he was a terrible coach? I hate it when I turned it on and everybody's like, "Oh, look, he's got a new look. He's got a beard." I don't give a crap about
He's
his beard.
edgy. He's edgy. That was the edgy Eberflus. Yeah.
Everybody grew a beard, and everybody grew a beard in November. This dude chose to do one in the summertime, which is fine. Grow your beard. You're gonna be on HBO. You want to look like it's like a serious contender. Now, when they finish this Hard Knock series, you're gonna realize that you look like a freaking fool because everybody's waiting to the episode where you get fired, especially because you got fired 35 seconds after saying, "I'm going to be coaching against the 49ers." You know what, Eberflus? I hope that you do some soul searching, and I hope that you find your whistle, because it's in your asshole. It's lodged up in your colon somewhere, and you couldn't fart hard enough to blow that thing, because that's what we needed you to do. And I don't think I've ever seen him blow a whistle the entire time. And I've never seen a coach not blow a whistle or throw a flag, or I don't know, the easiest thing to do in sports, call a timeout.
Well, let's be real
Two
here.
weeks in a
You
row.
can easily form a timeout with your hands, so you don't even have to whistle. Just say it, yell, and put your hand. I mean, signal to your quarterback. Hey, you do it. I mean, anybody
Now,
could have done it, and nope, not for us.
now you know who else? You know who needs to get fired this week? So when the Bears beat the 49ers on Sunday, you know who's getting fired? You know who's getting fired? Shanahan. Shanahan's getting fired next, guys. And you heard it
Ooh.
from me first. Shanahan is getting fired in San Francisco. They're not letting him keep his job. And if you guys think that he is going to keep his job, see Matt Eberflus from the Chicago Bears. And then they're going to put their pictures right next to each other as two of the most wasteful coaches in the last decade. And if anybody thinks that I'm not lying, how many Super Bowls have the Bears won this decade? 0. How many Super Bowls have the 49ers won this decade? 0. The Bears haven't even been to the NFC Championship. The 49ers, on the other hand, have at least been to the championship. But for some reason, they get to the championship, and I don't know, their coach forgets how to coach.
I just don't understand why the Bears get stuck on the whole 85 Bears stance, where it's offense wins games, defense wins championships, but you don't continue to just build on a defense. And it's not even that great. Let's be honest. I mean, they're good, but they're good when they want to be good. And that's what it's been. I mean, we went to the Super Bowl on only defense and special teams touchdowns. Evidence of that was that Hester kicking, scoring on the kickoff return on the opening drive, and then the Colts destroyed us. Why would you keep getting these high quality quarterbacks, but you give them no protection, no receivers? What are we doing? Like you're handicapping all of your offensive power. Period. You're nerfing yourself. Like it doesn't even make sense.
What so okay. I'm going to be a little bit nicer.
I can't see you, but I can already tell that there's a vein throbbing in the neck.
Yes, there is. And I'm going to use, we had a coach by the name of Bob Cora when I was playing football in high school. And this guy was one of the most old, hard-nosed. He looks exactly the same as he looked 20 years ago. I don't understand how, but I did say that he was a vampire back then. And I've never seen the man eat or drink coffee. And I think that's he's a vampire. And you know what he used to say? He used to say, what sticks in my craw? Losing to Lockport, because there's no reason why these guys should beat you. And now, mind you, there was a vein of, veiled racism because they didn't have a single black player on their entire team. And then we had like 5 guys who went to state that year in track and field, and it happened every single year. And he's just dumbfounded at how these slow guys were able to beat these fast, strong guys, who were just about, 3 times bigger than them with bigger dicks, and he couldn't understand it. He couldn't understand it. And that's how I feel about the Chicago Bears. You draft guys like, okay, if I'm going to auction anybody off, hypothetically, because that's what the NFL is one giant auction. If I'm going to auction anybody off, I see this 6'5", 245-pound, solid muscle, chiseled face, mixed young buck in Justin Fields. He can throw the football a mile. He can run faster than a horse. He could take a hit. He could hand it off. He could spin sideways. He could dive over people. He keeps on chugging, keeps on getting up. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn him into a pocket passer. You know why? Because I'm a fucking idiot. That's what I'm going to do.
Then. All right, hey, I got a question for you then. So do you agree with them releasing Justin Fields or trading Justin Fields out?
Yes.
Okay, so why? Because I was against it, but I'm curious.
Are you asking Cortez the player, or are you asking Cortez the manager?
Both.
Cortez the player did not want Justin Fields to leave the Bears. Cortez the manager understood that I can get a rookie who can do most of the same stuff, but it's also going to listen to everything that I say without looking at me crazy on the sidelines. And I don't have to pay him anything but like maybe $100K. Justin Fields, I'm gonna have to pay him $25 million because that's in the contract, and I'd have to do that in a year. So basically, I get a soft reboot, and I can blame Justin for the fact that we didn't make the playoffs 3 years in a row, even though he only played like half those games every season.
Right, because I mean, our backup Tyson dude. I mean, that guy did. I think he's pretty decent. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, and all of these games that we've had some poor turnarounds in especially the last few games. I don't understand why he's not even pulling him out, like especially against the Patriots.
Well, I mean, you're just because before this year he had a noodle for an arm. That's the reason why he wasn't playing. But if he had a better arm, he would have been playing. But he wasn't bad. Yeah. He wasn't bad. He just You remember Brock Purdy in year 1?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
he made the right plays. He made the right throws. It's just that his strength wasn't there. And it's because he was young and he was new to the system, and he wasn't necessarily the same caliber of starter that a guy who started at Ohio State would be, who went to the national championship with the messed up ankle and knee. That guy, yeah. Here's the thing that comes down to it: when all else fails, if you ruin 2 number 1 draft picks, you ruin a bunch of other players who came and are thriving in other places. And like for example, Mostert was doing work before he got injured in Miami, and he was doing work not even just Miami, but he was doing work in San Francisco too. And you know what he was doing on the Bears? Riding pine and playing special teams.
Yeah.
And he never got a shot. What was David Montgomery doing? The exact same thing.
And look at him now. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Mostert too, because Mostert was what led the league in rushing last year, or behind Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. And and he led the league in rushing touchdowns last year. And I was at the NFC Championship game 5 years ago when Raheem Mostert ran for 220 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Packers here at Levi's. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, again, yeah, it definitely comes down to coaching, and scheme. And if you don't have the right scheme for the right players, especially talented players, I mean, then that tells me that you're doing something wrong. So,
see, Chicago is notorious for this, where we are stuck in our 90s feel and our 80s feel for almost all of our teams until somebody dramatic comes along into the actual management and actually starts changing things around. I mean, Reinsdorf is still thinking he's going to find another Michael Jordan. He almost had it with Derrick Rose, but Derrick Rose is a little bit too wild and he was a little bit too fragile, and it ended up hurting.
Nah, that was Thibodeau's fault. Derrick Rose didn't even need to be in that game.
Look, but see, I got mixed feelings about that too. But no, and I agree with you on that part. But I there's a lot going on with that. Like,
he made them run stairs. He made them run the stairs in the United Center at 4 a.m. every Sunday.
Yeah,
that's unnecessary.
Yeah, but I get it. You're toughening up your guys, man. I mean, it's
they're in the NBA
training. Yeah, no, I get it.
It's kind of like when you get to the NFL, right? And so people are like, oh, the guys in the NFL are so pampered. That's why they're in the NFL. Because let me explain this the best way that I possibly can, right? And I think that everyone will understand this. If you have a 97 Corsica, you're probably going to beat the crap out of it. But if you have a 2015, I don't know, Porsche 911, you're probably going to be a lot nicer to that Porsche 911 than you are to that Corsica. And let me tell you, most high school players are Corsicas.
Yeah, but they're trying to get upgraded, man. They're trying to get the upgraded parts. They're trying to get in there.
And what people don't realize is, for the most part, you don't find guys like Brock Purdy everywhere. That's why Mr. Irrelevant is a thing. That's why there's only been one great Mr. Irrelevant, and that's why he's no longer Mr. Irrelevant. The rest of them are still irrelevant. I can't even tell you what their names are.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I'm not even going to bother to Google it, because that's how irrelevant they are. So when you get guys that can perform, like, I don't know, the Chicago Bears didn't draft their quarterbacks at 0. They drafted their quarterbacks, I believe, at 1 and 7, respectively, in the first round. We're talking about a draft, 2 loaded drafts, guys that are breaking records in those drafts. And you know what? San Francisco sat back, they chilled, they found a guy they thought was good, and they said, we got 2 number 1 draft picks in front of him. Let's see if he beats them for the job. And he both those guys, one of them's not even in the league anymore. The other one is floundering in Dallas. And that's just the way that it is. And so, the 49ers front office is better than their coaching staff, but the Bears front office and the coaching staff have notoriously been trash for 30 years.
Yeah. I will say one thing. I mean, I don't know if Jed York, our owner, will move on from Kyle. They have a lot of history there going back from our last championship in 1995, because Jed York is obviously Eddie DeBartolo, our original owner's nephew, and Kyle Shanahan is the son of Mike Shanahan, who was the offensive coordinator of that 1994-1995 Niners team, right? So they have a lot of history. Now, obviously, it looks like the Niners are going to miss the playoffs. They've been way too many injuries. The defense has underperformed drastically since last year. I obviously went to the Super Bowl last year. I went to every single playoff game last year, the NFC Championship, the divisional. Got to see the Ravens, right? I think there's a multitude of factors going on with the Niners right now, which kind of contributes. Number one, obviously injuries, right? CMC's not out for the year of the PCL. Trent was out on Monday. Deep Bosa's dealing with injury. Aaron Banks, our entire left side. Brock Purdy, his blind side is not protected. Kale's been playing through it. Obviously Brandon Ayuk has been out since week 4, right? With ACL. So we'll see how he looks like when he comes back, right? So there's a myriad of injuries. There's a myriad of issues. Obviously, Nick Sorensen being a first-year DC, I don't think Sorensen is the right guy for the job. I also think Brandon Staley being the assistant head coach. You saw what happened last season when the Raiders played the Chargers and they beat them 63-7. I don't think Brandon Staley should be designing any defensive schemes at all for this team. And for some reason, Kyle, right, exactly. Kyle, for some reason, is probably really not happy with Staley, but he's not going to say it to the media. He's probably not happy with Sorensen. He's not going to say it to the media. But you saw what happened to Steve Wilkes last year. Steve Wilkes, actually, being the scapegoat of that Super Bowl, had the defense playing with top 8 ranked defense and top 3 in pass secondary. So the defense pretty much did their job. It's really been the offense that was the Achilles heel in the Super Bowl and special teams, and Kyle has not given any attention to special teams at all. And that's also been a key kind of Achilles heel for the Niners. not being able to close out games defensively, not being able to execute on special teams and make too many mistakes on special teams. And the offense was basically underperforming. Receivers are dead last in separation. I think it's 2.97 yards per separation. I think per route for each receiver. So Brock has had to force the ball in the tight windows. I also think Brock has regressed. Honestly, Brock has looked really bad this year. He's been overthrowing, underthrowing, and he played really bad on Sunday night against Buffalo. Obviously, 35-10 speaks for itself. And the previous week against Green Bay, 38-10 speaks for itself as well. And so it's really the season from hell. But I think Jed York,
CMC should be shut down for the rest of the season, right?
Well, he has to be now because his PCL tear is basically inactivating for at least minimum 6 weeks. He's going to have to get surgery in the offseason. Fred Warner dealing with that fracture. Fred Warner, in my opinion, is the best middle linebacker in the game right now, and he's dealing with an ankle fracture.
Ayuk's out for the season, right?
Yeah, I like I said, Ayuk's out for the season. Trent Williams playing on one leg. I mean, there's too many injuries, and I just think Nick Sorensen is not the right man for the defensive coordinator position.
I mean, they let a guy start who lost his child like 3 days before the game.
Yeah, I don't understand why Trent was playing that game. That made no sense. Charvarius Ward as well. Charvarius Ward has lost his kid this year, his daughter at like 2 years. I mean, it's just been a magnitude of issues. I don't mind Kyle being fired. I've been on this platform, Cortez, and Marcus, if you heard that episode, I screamed at this camera. I mean, I want Kyle to be fired. Taking a step back, and looking at it from from taking everything into consideration. I don't know if firing Kyle is the immediate fix. However, if you do get like a Bill Belichick waiting the wings, I would make that move like any day of the week because defense would be more improved. Special teams would be more improved. Offensively, we already have a quarterback.
There's 5 guys right now who could be immediate hires. You got Kingsbury. You got the guy in Detroit, the offensive coordinator. You have
Ben Johnson,
Michigan's head coach. You have Belichick.
Yep.
And
and
then you have I think even Lovey is back looking for a job. So and I forgot. Be on the watch out because somebody who has taken the media's perception of him and flipped it on its head in less than a year, Coach Prime. He's gonna get a shot, and somebody is gonna give him a shot in a prime location. I wouldn't be surprised if they asked him to go coach in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think Las Vegas. I think the Cowboys seems like a very, very possible destination because of Prime's history with that franchise and with the 49ers. But I don't know if Jerry's going to make that move. I think again, the question I have with the Niners is not necessarily it starts from up top, right? I think Jed York is a good owner, taking a step back, letting John Lynch and Kyle kind of do their thing, and you've seen the success that they've been able to have after a few years of making 4 of the last 5 NFC championships, making 2 of the last 5 Super Bowls, 2 of the last 4 Super Bowls rather. That speaks for itself. But with that, comes the issue of not being able to close out those games. Like you mentioned, Cortez, right? I think Kyle, like what you mentioned about Eberflus being 5-19 in one-score games, Kyle is actually 0-40 heading into the fourth quarter down 8. He's 0-40. Yeah,
and what's funny about this is that you have updated this for the last 3 years.
I have. And
you
Kyle
have a tally board behind yourself and just keep on.
Yeah, I know. And one more thing, I think Kyle has been outscored in the fourth quarter of each of the 3 Super Bowls. I think 72 to 26. 72 to 26. He's been outscored in the fourth quarter of each of his 3 Super Bowls. The first one with Atlanta as OC against Brady in 2017. The last 2 as head coach of the Niners.
Marcus, this man went live. This man went live after the Super Bowl, and he's told all of our followers, "I will never, ever, ever pay to go to a Super Bowl again."
Why you gotta put me on blast, man? Motherfucker. This motherfucker put me on blast. Yeah, he said, no. That's not what I said. I said I will never. Let me repeat it now because I want everyone, all 9 people, to hear me. I'm gonna get real close to my camera so y'all can see my face.
Yes.
I will never pay to go watch a 49ers game as long as Kyle Shanahan is the head coach ever again.
Okay.
That's it. That's what I said after the Super Bowl. That's what I'm saying right now. My dead homie's grave. Rest in peace, Aaron.
So
Love you, buddy.
I'll tell you a story. So
Yeah.
I delivered a custom jersey to Marcus's house.
Okay.
And everybody's in the house. Oh, you're about to go get ready to watch the Bears? And I was like, fuck no. And they're like, what? Why
I'm a
not? And
glutton
I'm
for
like,
punishment, man. So we still
and I
watch
literally
it.
said it. I was like, no, they suck. He's like, dude, just watch the Bears over here. I'm like, I'm not watching them. What are you about to do? I'm gonna go to Portillo's, and I'm probably gonna get some food, and then I'm gonna go to like Ross Dress for Less and see what I can find in Ross. And after that, I might go to TJ Maxx because that sounds like fun. But I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna take my dog to the dog park. I did take my dog to the dog park that day, and there's evidence that I did. I did all of those things except watch the Chicago Bears because I refuse. And you know what? I think they lost by like 21, 20 something that day.
I mean, that's neither here nor there, man. We know what happened. So
because they suck. Cortez, you're wearing a Bears jersey right now. This has nothing to do. What did he tell him? Don't worry about my erection. It has nothing to do with you. That's when I wear Bears stuff. It has nothing to do with the actual Chicago Bears right now.
Look, I make it a point that, and just Chicago teams in general, I make it a point now. Well, I've always done it, actually, now that I think about it, ever since probably their mid-2000s, that any Chicago team, I don't buy any active player. I was gifted a Jose Abreu jersey, which is real nice, and then he got traded to Houston, and now I hate it, and I don't want to ever wear it again. But I always wear classics. I don't wear anything because if the guy is traded, they suck. No, I'm never doing it again. I'll only get the highlight players because at least I can watch highlights of that and actually enjoy it, rather than
you're not the only blind person that goes to Comiskey. Okay, you're all right,
dude. I can't stand the fact that our management, our coaches, everything in Chicago has just been this way since the 90s. It's like, all right, well, it's been that way since the 90s. I'm only going to rock 90s jerseys than before because that's all we can do. Like, I'll rock a Jordan jersey. I'll go ahead and rock, a Carlton Fisk, for like.
But you're lucky. You're lucky because when you're caught in public wearing it and they say, the socks suck, all you get to say is, I don't know what I have on.
And no. I can't even. No, I don't put myself to things like that. Yeah, no,
I didn't see this.
I proudly know what I wear, and I will proudly I love when people and for those that don't know, I'm visually disabled, so there.
It literally
there's a
says
lot
it
of
on
people.
the screen. They better. If you guys didn't read the screen of his introduction, let me reintroduce him. This is Marcus Montalvo. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, it says blind but with perfect vision, and he is demonstrating right now that he indeed does have perfect vision.
Yeah, not in the literal sense, but yeah, well,
he's clairvoyant.
My mindset is great. But yeah, I won't sit there and support any of the new jerseys. I mean, like, okay, I wanted to get a Justin Fields jersey. I was like, yo, that's cool. He's doing well there, here and there. He's better than most that we've had. And then he got traded, and then he's doing okay with he's doing all right. It's like, that's fine. But then you
know what I hate about that? Justin Fields knew he was getting traded week 8 during the season, and they didn't tell anyone.
Knew.
Except
you knew. Everybody knew.
He's the only one that knew.
Yeah.
Well, when the documentary comes out and you have Caleb Williams hanging out in Hallis Hall and Justin Fields walking in dripping sweat, what are you doing here? Are you supposed to be in California? Yeah. Justin was like, all right.
Just look at it, and everybody. It almost seems like everybody says quarterbacks. I mean, for sure, quarterbacks come here to die. But let's be real. I mean, this is like everybody comes here to get the realization of how tough football is. Is like, hey, you want to know how bad it could be? Go play for Chicago Bears, and then you will be grateful to whatever team you go to afterwards. It doesn't matter. You could be anywhere. You could go back to when it was the Baltimore Colts and still have a better time than for playing for the Chicago Bears now. It's sad. It hurts my feelings, and I'm depressed a lot. Dude, make it so bad. Well, I mean, they kind of turned around a little bit, but they're still terrible. Well, Michigan is my other team, my college team, and I can't even watch football on the weekends anymore. I used to look forward to the weekends, and nah. I don't care that they won 50 to
just
whatever.
Go for a walk. Do what I do. Go for a 3 or 4 mile walk. Tire yourself out, sweat, and then take a shower afterwards.
And
You
take a
know,
nap.
you have a lovely wife. You know, just be like, hey, baby, I need you to rub my back a little bit. Maybe I'll rub yours. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all take a nap. And then when you wake up, the
Uh,
game's over because they're not getting any
Well,
primetime games for the rest of the
I mean
year.
that. I
And
mean,
I don't think
I
they
mean, I mean,
do.
I mean that's what we did. I mean, we ended up going bowling on Sunday. We went bowling, on Sunday night, and then that's actually one of my shorts. It got like
Like
600 views, but yeah.
me and
yeah,
this
I
guy
mean,
text each other all the time about how trash our teams are.
well, look at the highlight. The highlight of the Michigan game was the fist fight afterwards, and it's like that's cool. I mean, it shows the passion and stuff, but they weren't even the only ones that did that. So it's like, all right, man. The rivals decided that it must have been a social media thing where they all talked to each other and said, "Hey, we're sticking flags in all of our defeated home team, away games, and we're just going to embarrass everyone." And then we're gonna fist fight afterwards to show the rivalries are still high. It's almost like they did it universally to make sure that college football was still like in the spotlight. And that's cool. I mean, whatever. It just made me sad that, I mean, I was happy that Ohio State lost because, I mean, I can't stand Ohio State. But, and the fact that they were ranked number 2 going
Okay.
into this,
As you
that was
can
sweet.
see and hear, probably, I put something on my head. If you're going to punch this, you're an idiot.
Yeah, the helmet.
Punch this. Punch me in the face mask. Punch me in the helmet. That's dumb. You're gonna break
You
your
gotta go,
fingers,
you gotta go,
especially if you try to put your fingers in between. And I got big
you,
hands, so you know what I'm
you gotta
saying?
go 60s. You
Like
gotta go
this is
60s and
just the
put icy hot
stupidest
on your
thing in
fingers and
sports
rub it
right
on an
now,
eyebrow.
and I'm taking this off because of it.
You
Yeah,
gotta
no, I
go.
was gonna say, yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. Good.
No, I was saying you got to go 60s and,
I
put the icy hot on
I've
the thumb
never
and rub it across an eyebrow so it sweats into the eyes. You got to go old school, man.
I've never understood that. I've never understood the punching the helmet of another player. You
Yeah.
have hands. You have hands, and your hands are delicate. And this is like only about 4 players on the field don't need their hands to play. One of them is literally called what he does. He's a kicker.
Yeah.
So a punter needs his hands, but a place kicker doesn't really need his hands. But just about everybody else does. And so if you turn around and you punch a guy in the helmet at point blank range with all the force in your mighty muscles, you might break your hand on their helmet. And I've seen people break their hands on other people's helmets by punching them. And so we're having a fist fight. Well, this guy's literally wearing armor.
Yeah.
So I
It's
mean, unless you
silly
got a
because it's like,
22,
yeah. It's silly
a
because like it's
baseball
a
bat
chef.
wouldn't really do damage.
Well, it's like a chef, like, all right, I'm gonna just damage my tools of my trade. And you're not even at the highest level yet. You're trying to get to that level. And you've got your degree in communications, if whatever it is, and it's like, look, you're hoping that the NFL is going to pick you up and put you somewhere, but then they see these actions of these kids, and it's like that's just stupid. I don't understand it. I mean, it's I mean, from a fan's perspective, it's like, whoa, that's but in the long run, it's pretty stupid. I mean, let's be
Fans'
real. That
perspective, but as a veteran player and somebody who also coaches the youth, one of the
yeah,
things that I'm going to say is protect your hands, guys. Like the older you get, the worse your hands get. And believe it or not, the
100%.
majority of
yeah,
you are going to have arthritis, not even just like you can have arthritis from just existing because you're older, because your cartilage is going to start to, you know,
you tighten
devolve or
up, man.
whatever. Like protect your hands. So stop putting unnecessary drama. If your name is Kyle, stop punching walls. If your name is Nick, or Antonio, for example, protect your head. Those are things that you might want to do. If there's a guy who's really good right now, but I'm worried about him, and that's Saquon Barkley. I'm worried about him because he does weird stuff on the football field. And I'm gonna tell you, it looks cool. It really does. But there is always that one guy that's waiting for you to do something super weird so he can tag you.
Yeah,
In my fun time, his name was Cortez Branch. If you did something weird on the football field, I made sure to tag you. And then guess what? There's lots of guys like me. We like tagging idiots. You want to make me look bad? You want to hop over a guy? Great. I'm going to pile drive you the next time I get the chance. And if you guys don't believe me, go to my Instagram, which is in our links, and go scroll down a couple of years, and you see a guy that gets spine busted by me because he decided that he's gonna try to. So I have a friend named Nick Petty. And I don't know if you guys remember Nick Petty and the Petty brothers, but Nick, he caught some hereditary disease where he was hospitalized and in a coma for a number of weeks. And before this happened, this was like the week before this game. I mean, the week before he got hospitalized, this guy hurdled Nick, and I was like, Nick's never been hurdled before, and he was acting a little bit slow. This is why, whatever happened with Nick after this, but the guy tried to do the exact same thing to me, and let me tell you, there was a completely different result. There's me in the picture. There's me with his leg. There's me with this with my. And he literally got a good spine buster on the ground. And you know what? He didn't come back in that game. I don't know if he ever played again. And that's what happens when you try to make people look stupid. Don't try to make somebody look stupid.
So you're
Don't
saying
punch
you ended some
somebody in the
guy's career?
You shouldn't have tried to hurdle me.
I mean, yeah, and
It was
that's
unnecessary.
That if you pull that off, it's impressive,
dude,
but it's
they were
totally
up.
unnecessary.
They were up 36. They were up 36, and he tried to hurdle me. First of all, I didn't want to be on special teams that day anyway. You tried to hurdle me, and we're in Iowa. And you know what? Iowa has a whole lot of corn and a whole lot of big chicks. And the one thing you're not going to do is you're not going to hurdle me around all that corn and those big ass chicks. You're not going to do it. And so right there in Augustana College's field, it lies the end of that guy's career because he wanted to do something weird. So that's my message to NFL, to college, to high school, to Pop Warner, and to those guys who like to play fantasy football. Don't do weird stuff to other football players because we don't take it very lightly.
100%. I was gonna say, Marcus, to your point about throwbacks and kind of all that stuff. I actually just copped it. I don't know, you can't see my jersey. This is Ronnie Lott, number 42, and obviously the 80s and 90s. Yeah. My Mitchell Ness throwback. Yeah. I've been doing the same thing. I've just been copying with Black Friday. I've been copying all the throwbacks, the Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Steve Youngs, because last time 49ers won a Super Bowl was 1995 when I was 5 years old. So I'm the same way like you, because I went to the Super Bowl this year. One of the greatest. That's probably the best game I've ever been to, honestly. Even though it wasn't in my favor. Yeah. But until they actually can win it, because they prove that they're good enough to get there. But are you good enough to actually win it once you get there? That's why I can't, in good faith, go and pay money to watch them play anymore until they can prove to me. Maybe it's Kyle. I don't think it is. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, right? But I just don't see that happening. Yes, 49ers are an elite organization. They run the NFC, the class of the NFC. But, I feel like now the wear and tear on these guys, Trent Williams, 36, going to be 37 next year. George Kittle, 31. I mean, he's not getting younger, but we'll see how much longer he can go. The rest of these guys are overpaid. And then you have to pay Brock next year. And Brock, hasn't been playing that good this year. He should definitely take a discount, so that we can keep some of the core. But that's really what frustrates me so much. It's like the talent on this team has been underperforming at such a drastic level. It's been such a huge drop-off from last season. I just don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
Really, they look defeated. They look defeated in every single game.
Yeah, the morale is quite low, it seems. Like they've especially with these 3 in a row, it seems like they just kind of are over it. They're like, yeah, we're not going into the playoffs, now it's just like, whatever, man. Let's just try to get through the season and as best we can. Because they're already beat up physically, mentally they're beat up. I mean, same thing with the Bears, dude. Like, they can sit there and talk about it as positively as they want to, and we got into Eberflus's face after that game, and it doesn't matter. And no, you didn't. You're only doing that just to say you did, and so that way you can keep the fans. Because right now, it's the tides are turning around here, and it's just like, look, man. Even if the Bears got went to a new area, we'll say, I think some people would be like, yeah, cool. I mean, whatever. The Chicago teams in general are just so bad. It's tough being a Chicago sports fan in general. And it's just year-round defeat, man. Like, the White Sox, the worst record in baseball. And then I go right into the Bears and the Bulls, and I'm like,
hold on. Worst
I don't want to watch TV at all, man. I'm done.
Don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short. The White Sox had the worst record of all time.
Well, right. Yeah. Yeah. And then
there's never been a worse team to ever play the
you can lose more than 26.
But the White Sox won a World Series less than 20 years ago. So, let's keep in perspective. It's not like the White Sox have been a complete dumpster fire. Even when I lived in Chicago and Wrigleyville, the Cubs, before I moved there, they won their first World Series in over 100 years. The Cubs are like my second team, like the Bears are my second team, honestly.
Yeah.
So, because just by virtue of living in Chicago for as long as I did, that's the longest I've ever lived outside of this state, So,
I gotta watch the games because my wife is a Cubs fan, so she rubs that in my face constantly. So, and then
that
we
is
have the
why she's
format that
called
says a house divided, where we got the socks, and
Oh,
and I just have to look at the dirty side of the socks,
Marcus.
and
I love you, but that's why she's called your better half.
Oh, she's with you. Hear that? She's within earshot. So yeah, there we go. Thank you for that, Cortez. Now I got to hear that all night.
You are welcome. You are so welcome. You are
Yeah,
so
yeah.
welcome.
All right,
So,
guys. Well, I'm gonna have to get out of here, man. I appreciate you
Okay,
guys
appreciate-
having me on, man. This is a lot of fun.
I know, because she
100%
might put
was-
you in one. She might put you in the hurt lock, aka the master lock. You know, she might. You never
Dude,
know. You sit
she
down right
and my
now.
son beat me up yesterday because they're homies and they got their own secret handshake. So that's what I deal with here. They beat up on blind people. That's what they like, beating up on blind. So if you guys see them on the street and you have a disability, watch out for them. They're terrible.
Yeah, hater.
Terrible people.
Marcus, man, appreciate you coming on, joining our show. Hope to do this again very soon, brother.
We have a hater. We have a hater in this house. We have a hater.
Okay. Oh man, see,
Yeah.
you see what's going on, guys? All right, hey man, I'm doing something. Back up. God.
Oh man.
Guys, he can still hear you. He's not down.
Yeah, he can still hear you.
Yeah, no, they got to make sure I feel them too. That's the problem. So yeah.
He said, "You gonna feel this." Thank you
You
for
gonna
joining
feel
us
this.
tonight, Marcus.
Yeah, it was a
If you
pleasure,
guys
man.
are
This is a lot
catching
of
the
fun, man. I
podcast, make
appreciate
sure you check out the previous episode before this one. Marcus did a little bit of an expose on there. He's one of the people that I consider family, and I'm just glad that he's been able to join us today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I
thank you.
love being introduced to this, and checking you guys out. I didn't even know that you guys were doing this, and now that I'm a huge fan, I try to promote you guys as much as I can, and I really appreciate you guys having me on.
100%. No, we'll definitely do it again. Maybe next week. See, I mean, we'll figure something out.
If not next week, the week after, we'll figure it out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll do it. Yes, sir. All right, y'all know the man, the myth, the legend, Marcus Montalvo. Y'all know the website. Thank you once again, brother. Have a blessed rest of the week, and go Niners.
Yeah, go Bears.
They both suck.
I have
Yeah,
to say
well,
it.
yeah.
It's just, you have to say it. It doesn't matter what happens. They're playing each other. It's like watching two kids with broken arms fight each other. I mean, it'll happen.
But before you go, let me explain this, right? So I had somebody message me a couple of months back, and they were like, "I thought you were a 49ers fan." And I was like, they pulled up the screenshot that said "Go Niners." And I said, "You freaking idiot. That's my dad."
Oh, so you look terrible. You lied earlier. You said
Senior.
you look like your dad.
Wrong Cortez Branch. I'm junior, that's senior. And don't get me wrong, I like the 49ers, but he's the fan, not me.
Yeah.
We seen that Niners jersey. I didn't play in the 80s. I could barely walk. Like, I didn't play in the 80s. That was my father.
I was a
He
Niners
was
fan in the
still the
90s,
49ers.
but I was just a fan of
was-
football in the
he was
90s.
a
So
49er.
I have
was not.
respect though for the teams, so I'll give them that. Actually, the
played-
49ers is one of my other teams that I do like to watch, so I'll give you that.
Oh yeah.
If
Hell
I
yeah.
played
No, we
for the
appreciate
49ers,
you.
you think I'd be in 10-degree weather right now? If I played for the 49ers, I would have never come back. Mark, I would have never come back here. If I would have played for the 49ers, I would have never come back here. I would have stayed in California in I don't know, shot music videos and became a stripper. I don't know, something.
Oh, so you didn't pull the Diddy, but just on the West Coast. All right, cool, man.
No, Diddy wasn't a stripper. He made other people.
It seems like he was.
He made other people strip. You know what I'm saying? And then he was just, that was involuntary reaction. All that dancing that he was doing, that was just his excitement bubbling to the surface. I would have been very intentional.
Huh? All right, yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Well, YouTube will censor us if we say what it really was. Okay, we're not going to do
right.
that.
Yeah.
We just cracked the algorithm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It took us 3 years to get back to the algorithm, so we're back to the algorithm. Let's not mess it up.
Oh, guys, I love you guys, man.
What is it? 50,000? 50,000 that we're at right now, or are we higher than that?
56, almost 57,000 views, over 1,000 likes, over 100 comments, over 500 shares, over 133 subscribers. We've gained 5 subscribers in the last 2 days. Thank you all for tuning in. And yes, my brother Marcus, we'll have you on again soon. Help keep growing our reach. Appreciate you, bro.
I love it when he does that. I love it when he does that. Such a sense of satisfaction.
Yes, sir. All right, let's go ahead and we will.